Many years ago, in the ancient kingdom of Judah, a sparsely populated kingdom consisting of what is now known as southern Israel, there was a boy. His name was Jehoash, and his father Ahaziah was king. But something was off. The king's mother and Jehoash's grandmother Athaliah was plotting to overthrow her own son. And she did just that in the year 836 BCE, when Jehoash was only 7 years old. Athaliah held the throne for herself after having her own son and his family killed, everyone except Jehoash. Jehoash's aunt, Jehosheba, was married to the high priest, and so she protected the young boy from his grandmother's mad wrath. Eventually, she helped Jehoash commit a coup against his usurper grandmother and gave the young child the very throne of the king. Athaliah died in the coup, and Jehoash had become king at 7 years of age, and he would remain as ruler for 40 years. Religion was a huge part of Jehoash's reign, and he ruled under the support of Yahweh and the priests. However, when the high priest died, Jehoash started paying more attention to the princes of Judah and to the faith of idols and the Asherim, as many other kings of Israel had. Jehoash, who had by now reigned for many years, steered on a new path, and after being scolded by the high priest's son for abandoning his faith, he ordered the high priest's son to be executed by stoning. This act proved to be Jehoash's downfall. Not too long after the execution, Jehoash was cut down by his own officers and died a sudden death by the treacherous assassination. His son Amaziah would succeed in the role as king. Kings in ancient times could be very cruel, just like some of today's dictators and leaders can be cruel and unjust. But the truth is that what was once a widespread problem for local populations all over the world now only exists in certain parts of the world. I do talk a lot about murder, and to many murder is a clear-cut issue. There's a bad guy and there's a victim. But what if the bad guy is the victim? Sennacherib was king of Babylon, just like his father Sargon II had been before him. Sennacherib was a military man, and he loved his conquests. He tore down temples and disavowed gods, causing outrage. Sennacherib tried to quench the outrage through his own political propaganda, but his disregard had already sowed a seed of destruction, as this would eventually lead to a war for independence and the destruction of Assyria. Sennacherib led many military campaigns during his time as ruler. One of his famous campaigns was his attempt to besiege Jerusalem. He never did get inside the city, but his fearless wrath would earn him to be mentioned in the very Bible itself. The assassination of Sennacherib is a pretty fucking messy account. Theories dominates this part of his life, but one thing that seems to be a recurring narrative is that Sennacherib's own son or sons killed him. The fact that the tyrant that destroyed Babylon was murdered by his own son was by many viewed as a divine intervention. Sennacherib's son Esarhaddon would take his place as king, and as the story goes, Esarhaddon had no part in his brother's blood spill. We seem to have a lot of assassinations with religious undertones today, but that's a big part of the time that is being covered. Anyway, let's move along. Times of war had ravaged the kingdom of Judea, and Babylonians ruled the deserts. But one young king would rise. His name was Gedaliah. Gedaliah would allow his kingdom to prosper and the Jewish religion to grow. Gedaliah would have such an impact on the religion that a fasting celebration has been named after him. Gedaliah was supposedly a good man, and one day he invited a man named Ishmael ben Netaniah and his 7 officers to dine with him. During the evening, while enjoying Gedaliah's company and hospitality, the man arose and closed in on the king, butchering him under his own roof. Violent fate for a non-violent man. Now, keep in mind, this case was very hard to research properly, as so much of it is clouded in religion, and I ain't playing none of that stuff. I respect it, but I like to stick to facts. Thank you for watching, and good night. Guess I gotta work more on the scripts, you fucking retard.